Hello and welcome to fall semester 2022. My name is Professor Margaret Hankinson. I am a professor of political science at UWM at Waukesha, and I'll be your instructor this semester for sex, power, and public policy. This is a short video that's designed to introduce you to what we're going to be learning about this semester. So as many of you know, this course is cross-listed as a gender studies course and a political science course. So some of you are taking a GSW course and some of you are taking it with the designation POL. So on the one hand, but that being said, we're all going to be learning the same things during the course of the semester, regardless of how you signed up for the class. So on the one hand, you're going to be learning about concepts that are really essential to gender studies. You'll be learning about feminism and how feminism has changed over time in the United States. You will examine the definitions and relationships between gender, sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity. And we're also going to explore the ways that gender roles and the assumptions regarding gender roles have changed over time and the impact that race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, class, gender identity, age, and body ability impact our understanding of gender and gender discrimination. Okay. So, it's a gender studies class. Those are sort of some of the traditional things that you would learn in a gender studies class. But this is also a political science class, as the title of the course indicates. And so this semester, we're going to be paying special attention to public policy as it relates to gender. So you might be asking yourself, what is public policy? Well, public policy is the action or lack of action that a government takes to address a perceived problem. And so, for example, this summer, Congress just recently passed, and the president signed into law, what was called the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. You might have read about this in the paper. And this is a good example, a general example of public policy. It's a federal law that is designed to address the problem of gun violence in the United States, and that the law is trying to impact gun violence in part by expanding the background checks on those who purchase weapons, particularly those who are under the age of 21. And there are other measures in the bill as well. So that's just a general example of public policy. And public policy can take place through a federal law, can take place through state laws. It can also take place through executive actions. And so there's lots of different ways that government does things to address a perceived problem. Keep in mind, doing nothing is also public policy, right? If that government doesn't recognize that something is a problem and does nothing about it, well, then that in itself is public policy because the problem isn't being addressed or taken seriously. Okay. So this course examines public policy that has specific implications for sex and gender. So there's a whole bunch of different issue areas that we're going to be taking a look at during the course of this semester. And here's just a few of the public policy areas that you're going to be learning about this semester. So we'll be learning about anti-discrimination policy that's designed to address discrimination in the workplace and in education, as well as examining the role that the Supreme Court plays in defining what does and does not constitute unconstitutional gender and sex discrimination. So we'll be looking at a policy that is designed to basically protect people from gender and sex discrimination. We're going to be talking about how the Supreme Court just recently expanded what the meaning of sex discrimination. We're also going to be learning about policies designed to address sexual harassment and sexual assault. And in all the policies that we look at, we'll be looking at them from a historical perspective. And so we'll sort of look at the shifts in sexual assault policy, what they were in the 19th century and how they've changed today in the 21st century. You'll be learning about policies regarding sexual reproduction, including contraception and abortion policy. And obviously, this will be a really important topic that we're going to be doing this semester, because as most of you know, that with the Dobbs decision, that Roe v. Wade, which established a constitutional right to an abortion, has been overturned. And so now, abortion policy really is left to the states, and it really depends on what state you live in, depending the access that you have to abortion. We're also going to be exploring policies that address economic inequality, in particular, like the work pay gap and the feminization of poverty. And we'll be looking at regulation of sexuality as it relates to prostitution. And we'll also be looking at policies related to the regulation of gender identity as well. And so, we'll be learning a lot about public policy, and you'll be writing papers, 2 papers throughout the semester, 2 policy papers that allow you to dig into these public policy issues more deeply, or to explore a public policy issue that deals with sex and gender that we aren't covering during the course of the semester. So there's a good intersection with what we're learning and some assignments that we're doing, obviously. Finally, as the title of this course indicates, this is also a course about power, right? Sex, power, and public policy. And when we talk about power, we're really talking about politics, okay? So what is politics? Well, politics is just generally defined as the conflict over the leadership, structure, and policies of government. And so people engage in politics, they try to get power so they can have a say over who leads our country, how the government of our governmental structures are designed, and the kinds of policies that governments enact through that affect people in the United States. And so politics is engaging in a struggle to get power to influence who leads the country and the types of public policies that get enacted. And so for this course, power in politics is really important, because who can vote or who is denied the right to vote, who holds leadership positions or who doesn't have leadership positions, and who gets elected to office. Those are the people who have the power to persuade people that there is a problem that needs to be addressed, and plays a hugely important role in whether or not policy is enacted to address specific issues related to sex and gender. And so we'll be learning about the suffrage movement and the expansion of the right to vote for women. We'll also be learning about the lack of diversity, both gender and other sorts of diversity, in our elected, particularly at the federal level within Congress and the presidency. And we'll be looking at the impact that has, does it matter, and some ways that we can increase that diversity if we so choose to do that. So that's basically the major outlines of the course. It's a quick overview of what we're going to be learning this semester. Beyond just what you're going to be learning, the content of the course, you're also going to be engaging in some hopefully fun and interesting assignments that give you an opportunity to apply what you're learning throughout the course of the semester. We do have 2 exams, a midterm exam and a final exam, and you'll have weekly quizzes, both on the lectures that I create that you listen to, and you take an easy 5-question quiz. Watch the lecture, you should be able to do pretty good on it. And then we also have quizzes that are the reading quizzes. So that, kind of interesting, but maybe not that interesting. However, we are going to be doing some more interactive work as well. We're going to be engaging in some really interesting online discussions, which include debating what it means to be a feminist, whether feminism is still relevant today, should the Equal Rights Amendment be ratified? It never was. You're also going to have an opportunity to listen to a really fascinating podcast about sex, feminism, and abortion from a conservative perspective. You can earn some extra credit points doing that. We're going to watch a really cool documentary this semester about gender equality, sports, and how that gender equality in sports is experienced by a high school Native American women's lacrosse team. It's a great documentary. And then we're also going to be talking about the controversy over the inclusion of trans athletes in the NCAA in sports and beyond. So I think you're really going to love, engaging in the online discussions, because they're really cool topics, and it really gets you an opportunity to, learn from your fellow classmates as well. Okay, so that's it for me for right now. I am super excited for this semester. I can't wait to get started, and I can't wait to meet you all. So thanks for listening to this little video, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.